Welcome back to another week's episode of Three Simple Men Making Their Way Through the Galaxy. I'm Tom, with me is Ryan and Mike, and this week we're still in the Clone Wars, Season 1, Episode 4, titled The Destruction of the Malevolence.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, right? I mean, what's this episode about? I wonder. Boys, what do we think about the episode, though?
I got a lot to say. I mean, I think let's get into it. I don't want to start. I mean, a lot happens this episode. Some fun stuff. Let me start off with our quote that the episode starts with: "A plan is only as good as those who see it through." So that was our starting quote. We left off exactly, or we start off exactly where we left off last episode. The Malevolence is fleeing, severely damaged. Obi-Wan and two other Star Destroyers are fast on its heels, just freaking blasting it. And we learn pretty quickly that the cannon has been destroyed, but also the hyperdrive has been destroyed. We do get mention, and I want to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this might have been the first mention of this Jedi. But right in the beginning, we get mention of Master Luminara, who is out off fighting some separatist reinforcements, but is on her way. Is this the first time she's been mentioned?
First time mentioned, but we have seen her in the Battle of Geonosis as just like one of the extra Jedis.
One of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So we finally start, we get her more as a character, which is fun, because I guess, and it's going to be relevant to other discussions, but, we're watching chronologically. I know I say it all the time, but, this came after the movie. And, of course, well, I guess that also works chronologically. But, Clone Wars, where you have a scene with almost throwaway Jedi in the background, right? Background characters that we get really no introduction to, but they just look like different species that are Jedi. And now this show allows us to dive into these characters more that we only saw briefly, which is really cool. And we'll get into some more instances of, the Clone Wars kind of, or the series, and how that fits in with things that are said or done in the films. We very quickly learn, which blows my mind that this goes just unnoticed, but Dooku says, "Don't worry, I have a trap set. A senator is going to arrive and you're going to kidnap her." And then cut to Padme on her ship with our boy C-3PO, and full on says, "Oh, Palpatine got word from the banking clan that they wanna meet, and he sent me to these coordinates." Like, there's no questioning Palpatine, like the fact that Palpatine just totally set her up. Like, I don't know, maybe it'll happen next episode. I don't think it does, but I was like, this is what a blatant, like, Palpatine couldn't have, like, passed it on to other people and just been like, "Oh, the Senate," or, just blatantly sending her walking right into a trap. With that, what do you guys think of this, the trap and what follows?
I thought it was funny that as soon as she comes out of hyperspace and she realizes she's in the middle of a battlefield, Grievous is like, "Very good. Our trap is, our senator is here." Ahsoka's just like, something just came out of hyperspace, and we saw Anakin just giddy up, like, more enemy reinforcements. Like, he was ready for more. Like, he wanted the smoke. And then,
if they were in range, he might have blown her up.
Yeah. But then Ahsoka goes, "No, it's the Naboo starship." And then you see Obi-Wan and all of them. It's like, what the hell are they doing out here?
Yeah, and they're like ready to call off the attack too. And they're like, "All right, what's going on here?" And then Ahsoka reaches out, and then it's like, "Oh, this is Senator Amidala." And it's like, Padme's like, "What are you doing out here?" And it's like, "Oh, I've been caught in the trap," or she's caught in the tractor beam. So I think Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time we've seen a tractor beam used in the Clone Wars?
See, well, it's not. I know it's not the first time we've seen a tractor beam used,
Right.
right? We've seen that used before, but in the Clone Wars, I was thinking the same thing. I was kind of like, has a tractor beam? Well, because even the way she says it too, she's almost like it's some type of tractor beam, like she doesn't even know they existed yet. Have we seen a tractor beam at all?
No, I don't think so. I mean, to your point from last week, I mean, this is first time we're really getting like space warfare going on. So I think this probably is the first time.
Wait, is there one in the movie?
Original trilogy, yes.
No, in the sorry, in the Clone Wars animated movie.
I don't think so.
I can't recall, to be honest. I don't think we've ever really saw
Yeah, I'm
one.
having hard memory moments because I'm thinking of the series Ahsoka that we're watching, and like, that happens to be airing at this time, and
Yeah.
there might have been a tractor beam in that. Yeah, it might be the first tractor beam used, right? We haven't really had a bigger ship. I think you're right, Tom. Like the Trade Federation didn't have one in because that would be the most reasonable, right? The thing that looks like little Death Stars with halos around them. They don't pull anyone into a tractor beam. Jango Fett ship doesn't have a tractor beam. The little Nabooian.
Nope.
No, this is the first time we have like a really big ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a cruiser that can actually pull in smaller ships. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So that's another one. And I got a whole list of other firsts that we get this episode, but that's a good catch, Mike.
We see as Padme is getting pulled in, she's like, continue the attack. And she doesn't want to be used as a bargaining chip for the separatists. So she's like, keep shooting. Like, yeah.
Like blow it up. I'll be on it. Like Anakin's gonna do that. Like, come on. But it shows that she's in it for, she's willing to sacrifice herself and C3PO, whether C3PO wants it or not.
Wait,
So
before we do this,
yeah.
Is this the first time we're seeing General Grievous with the cape?
Yes.
Yep, and we're gonna get into another first of General Grievous in a little bit too. But we get the ship gets pulled in, and Grievous boards the subway system of his ship to ride it to the hangar. And in case you didn't think it was the subway system, we get a repeated mind the gap, mind the gap, mind the gap when he arrives, which I thought was a little comical, very comical.
Yeah.
But Padme was thinking quickly, rigged the ship to explode.
One more thing. Did you catch what substation they were going at? 9-4, Docking Bay 94. Easter egg.
I don't have that number. You're making up numbers now, Mike. I don't have that one written down.
I feel like it might be.
Docking Bay 94 that's the New Hope hangar that Han was at on Tatooine.
So this is the first mention of it. I gotta write that down. So is that your deep dive right there?
No, it's just an Easter egg. I'm just gonna do Easter eggs. Deep dives.
You're the Easter bunny. We got
I'll be the Easter bunny. We'll change it up.
Can I have some chocolate now?
So Docking Bay 94.
Yep. Or it's substation 9-4, but it's a callback to Docking Bay 94 from Mos Eisley Spaceport.
Well done.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't catch that. It's a good catch, Mike. So the ship blows up, the little ship, the Padme ship, with Grievous in it, basically. We get our first introduction to the Battle Droid Fire Brigade, which is strictly comical. They clearly don't know how to use a hose because they take the hose for a ride. But they had interesting designs. They had kind of like, it reminded me of like the Japanese flag. They had kind of like the red dot on their head. And then the little like almost like caution vests painted on, which was kind of funny to see that kind of design. I don't know if we ever see that design again, but we'll have to see. Always fun. I do want to then point out, so Anakin, obviously, no, he's not going to blow up the ship. He's going to go save Padme. Obi-Wan realizes this and is going to go with him, and they just ditch Ahsoka. No mention of it. She's just standing there with Plu, and they're like, and he's like, "There goes your master running off to adventure and excitement." And yeah, Ahsoka, who's supposed to be being trained by him, just gets left behind. I thought that was interesting. But we do get the final kind of the reunion I think we've been waiting for, right? A little bit. We get Obi-Wan and Anakin back together, and that's not the only reunion we get, because we also get the reunion of R2D2 and C3PO together. But before that, who we get the not the introduction, but the meeting of Obi-Wan and Grievous.
Oh, hang on. We got to talk about the whole Obi-Wan Anakin dynamic. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Obi-Wan like calling out. It's like, so you have a plan? It's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna fly in. And it's like, well, do you have a plan B? It's like, oh yeah, I'm working on it. So you see that little bit of like episode 2 treatment that Obi-Wan gave Anakin, chastising him for not having a plan. And then as they're flying in, it's like, are you serious? Just gonna fly in with you're not gonna do this stealthily? And it's just like, no. And he's like, oh, subtlety was never a strong point. And he's like, oh, everything I learned from you, Master. And Obi-Wan's like, oh, I wish that were true. So you do see that little bit of a back and forth between the two. And then as you see them dock, and then as they come out of the lift, is like, spinning is not flying. And it's like, oh, that's a good trick. And just like, oh God, throw back to episode 1.
Oh, the boys are back. The boys are
Then we
back.
get, which what I was too excited to get to. Obi-Wan runs off to
disable the hyper. Well, because then we find out.
First they go to find Padme, and they do find her, and they get split up. Anakin saves Padme with a cool kind of force grab. Obi-Wan attempts to do the same for C-3PO, and instead gets him gets him hit by a train, like square. Like he's like, I could do the same thing, and he just gets nailed. I lost it. I was like, what? Good job, Obi-Wan. Just C-3PO gets just nailed by a train, and then they decide. Obi-Wan's like, okay, I'm gonna go for the hyperdrive instead. You go try to find the droid, and Anakin radios R2 and C-3PO finally reunite, which was a great little moment there of C-3PO being terrified and R2D2 showing up. But then we get the meeting of Obi-Wan and Grievous. And Grievous greets Obi-Wan with anybody? Did you catch it?
Hello there.
Hello there. Yeah.
Every time I've seen this scene, then I've watched, spoiler alerts, like if you've seen Revenge of the Sith, you know why it says. I think about that meme someone did, and it had Michael Scott going, no.
Definitely call back to that episode 3 moment. So unfortunately, it's General Grievous giving the hello there to Obi-Wan. It's like, oh yeah, you really think I'm going to leave the hyperdrive on guard? It's like, anything's possible. You haven't impressed me today. And then we see kind of has that shot of like Obi-Wan getting surrounded by droids, like episode 3 too. So you see that. But then of course he gets creative, and
Obi-Wan learned a new trick.
Yeah, flip.
Not these force pushing. The droid, which they had to run away from in the past. They were so hard to fight, and now he's just rolling them like they're balls.
Yeah, like that was kind of balls, like lining it up for strikes. And I think we see a recurring theme from last week's episode with the way General Grievous treats his droids, because he catches the destroyer droid, like smacks it down, like destroys it.
I think Grievous might destroy more battle droids than the entirety of the clone army.
Yeah.
He is just going through his own. So this is something I wanted to point out and discuss, and we can keep an eye out for it. But I read it on the internet, so it has to be true. Anakin and Grievous never meet until Revenge of the Sith. And the reasoning being is the way the dialogue was written in Revenge of the Sith, which came out before the Clone Wars series came out that we're watching now, when they meet each other for the first time, the dialogue of some sort is along those lines of "we finally meet." So because that was said, then when they did the Clone Wars, they had to prevent them from meeting the entire time, which is kind of funny because it's almost in your face a little bit how originally, Anakin, Anakin, oh well, you go this way, I'll go this way, you go, and it's almost like, how many different ways can they go without Anakin bumping into Grievous? So we'll see if it's true, and if they don't, in fact,
No,
don't.
I think that is true. I've heard about this, and I think Dave Filoni, while making the Clone Wars stuff, was very adamant about it. It's just like, listen, they can never meet. The closest that they are actually on the field together, it will be in a later episode, but they won't actually see each other. But that's for another episode. But yeah, and that was their whole one major thing about making the series show was try to keep that going. Because now that we have Revenge of the Sith that's been out for Lord knows how long, and that dialogue, you have to maintain that dialogue stays true.
Mm-hmm.
So the quote I wrote down was just kind of more of a fun quote that we get before we go more into Grievous and Obi-Wan. We get Anakin and Padme basically diverting now and heading to the hyper, while they're off fighting, they now divert and they head to go take care of the hyperdrive. And they take out a bunch of droids. And Padme says, "Ever since I met you, you've been playing with droids," which was another fun throwback because when they first meet, that's exactly what he's doing. And then and then he says, "I used to put them together, now I take them apart." So not a quote for big discussion or anything, but I just thought it was kind of a fun moment. We haven't really seen them together. This is the first time we actually see them together since Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
Right? They've only really interacted via hologram. So this is the first time they're together again. We kind of brushed over the fact that they embrace and give each other a kiss. But we get to see the.
Did they actually kiss? Because I thought they were about to kiss when Obi-Wan interrupted them. I was like, oh yeah, I lost 3PO.
Yeah, I think they probably avoided it for the kids.
Yeah, maybe they did after the transmission. Yeah, because you had some moments where it's just them in the tunnel, so maybe they did.
Going back to droids, there was this one scene that I love, which kind of makes me want to lead into my hot take about droids. Maybe their programming is adjusted and they're learning, because you see the one scene with Anakin and Obi-Wan down on the subway system, and you see 3 droids, and 2 of them are about to fire, and one of them just goes, "Don't do that." And then next thing you know, their heads just get off, and he's like, "I knew that was going to happen."
And there was also another point too, because you had the battle droids walking in, and they're like, "Oh, what's that?" It's like, "Oh, it must be a ship landing on the emergency airlock." It's like, you must be hearing things, and it's like, "Oh my god, I was right," and then he dies. Yeah, so that's you definitely see some humor with these battle droids in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, the dialogue is definitely very comical with them, and yeah, he knew he was the smartest droid, right? He knew exactly what was happening, and then got, "Oh no, your circuits are messed up," or whatever. So yeah, we get that little fun quote of the interaction between Padme and Anakin, which is nice to remind us that they are in a relationship. They're married, right? So they're a married couple now. So they do have that kind of cute little back and forth about when they met. But then we get another first, and it is the first time we see Grievous using lightsabers. And not just one, but 2. He's dual wielding. Interestingly enough, what color were they?
Green and
blue.
Which is strange, usually, right? Looking at it chronologically without knowing what we might know. But chronologically, don't the bad guys always have red lightsabers? Why are these what's with this bad guy using a green and a blue lightsaber? So, and he's using a lightsaber. Is he a Jedi? I don't know. I'm just kind of funny looking at it chronologically. Obviously, we do know the answers, and we
If you
don't need to
wanna,
get
if
into
you
it
want
now.
to learn more about it, like him with the blue and green lightsabers, there is an old school. I think we brought this up before. Is the old school Cartoon Network Clone Wars, animated show where
Yes.
it very heavily involved with him, how he got those lightsabers, what he did to get it, and of course, one of those Jedi's was Shaggy, who was in honor of Shaggy from Scooby Doo. That's a little fun fact for you kids.
I was just gonna make a Shaggy from Scooby Doo joke when you said the name, but there you go. That adds
Because
up.
the dude looked like him and he was scared like him and he had a green lightsaber. So
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, to Tom's point, that's definitely like the origin story of General Grievous because we never heard of him until that point. And yeah, he's has quite the reputation of being a Jedi hunter and adding lightsabers to his collection. So that's his way of celebrating all the Jedi he's killed. So he's, yeah, to Brian's point, we see two of them, blue and a green, versus the red that we typically see with the Sith.
Yeah, so very interesting. A collector.
he's like when Family Guy made fun of James Woods, piece of candy, piece of candy, piece of candy. This time it's a lightsaber, a lightsaber, another one to my collection, another one to my collection.
Yeah, you just see like people with memes coming out of like a lightsaber dropping or something like that. You just see General Grievous randomly coming in, taking it. It's like, yeah, another one for my collection.
But yeah, so we get this little chase scene and stuff. And then who wants to take it away?
Yeah, so we see Grievous and Obi-Wan fighting about it for a little bit. Then Obi-Wan comes up with an escape plan. He slashes the train, gets away, and then he's chased by destroyers and no force pushes this time. But we see Anakin moving some boxes over to give him cover. They get on, and as they escape, they're chased by Grievous and several starfighters, and we see some more back and forth between the two of them about, oh, you need to get creative when you're flying. It's like, oh yeah, we should be shooting them. It's like, oh, Padme's already on it. So see her take out a couple targets, and then Battle Droid's radio into Grievous saying, oh, the hyperdrive's repaired, we're ready to go. It's like, get out of here. And then they realize that, oops, the nav computer has been hotwired and we're going into the moon. And they're like, oh god, what do we do? It's like reset the nav computer. Then Dooku radios in for an update, and General Grievous just turns it off like, oh crap, we're doomed. I gotta go. So I think, Tom, to your point, we do see General Grievous running away.
Dude, he hangs up on Dooku too. That was nuts. He's like, "What's going on?" He's like, and he just whoop, out of there. And what a gnarly way to take out a ship, right?
Yeah.
Anakin, pretty crazy. Like, I'm just gonna send him to hyperdrive directly into a moon, and but hopefully there was no one on that moon. I mean, I don't know how many people he might have taken out.
They definitely
Or
racked up the kill count with all the droids that were left on board.
it's true. It's true.
We'll
see.
destroying the
I guess this is probably the
Grievous.
first time. Sorry, this is probably the first time we've seen hyper jump to hyperspace used as a weapon, right?
I don't think it was just programming the navigator. I don't think they activated the hyperdrive. It's just Anakin just hotwired the computer where they couldn't make the jump. So
I thought he directed the. I thought they clicked drive. They went into hyperdrive.
no.
They didn't hyperdrive into the planet.
I think they were trying to program the navigator so they could make the jump, but then it got sabotaged and instead routed them to the moon.
Oh,
Because you would have
then
seen
why
the
wouldn't
blue,
they have just
you would have
landed
seen
on?
the blue and white like we see with hyperspace. That didn't happen.
Yes, I was under the impression that Anakin couldn't turn off the hyperdrive, but instead he rerouted the nav so that when they did jump to hyperspace, it would automatically hyperspace them into the moon.
That would have been a quicker demise had they made the jump to hyperspace.
Oh, all right. That's what I thought had happened. Okay, I take it back then. Maybe not the first time. Let us know in the comments who's right.
Have another
But yeah, maybe not the first.
fact check like last week's episode.
But we'll see some hyperdriving used as a weapon in the future.
Wonder who's
Also,
going to have the higher
you can
kill count. Grievous destroying his own droids or Anakin taking out an entire ship of droids?
Oh, that's a good pull. That's a good pull. Also, keeping count, this is a huge victory for the Republic.
It's true. Yeah, yeah. As far as we know, again, we didn't see any all according to plan. I don't know. We don't really know what Palpatine's idea was. I guess maybe send Padme so that the ship could survive because they wanted to keep the ship, but that didn't work. And yeah, that ship's gone now, right? And they lost their big weapon, so now they got to come up with some other plan. So
I think we'll never see it again because I think going back to last week's episode when we see Grievous destroy droids, you see Dooku just saying they're expensive. Now at this point, it's more of like the cost it is to build an army outweighs this new weapon ship where it's just like we outnumber the clones like 100-1. Let's just focus on that now at this point. This weapon experiment, it succeeded, but negligence got the better of us.
a plan is only as good as those who see it through. That's the quote. So there you go.
That was smooth.
And yeah, like Anakin said, all part of the plan. So I guess to a point, like with Jack Sparrow, does he make this all up, or does he plan this all out, or does he make it up as he goes along?
Well, you always ask why the rum is always gone, but
yeah, that could be another poll question.
Why is the rum always gone?
Oh, or planning it all out or making it up as he goes along. But yeah,
well, no, I mean, I think I read the quote as a plan is only as good as those who see it through, talking about the fact that, Grievous didn't see it through. The plan was get the senator, have the hostage, do all that, keep the ship, keep this awesome weapon that you have afloat, and instead he didn't see it through. He got out of there, and as Tom said it, it was incompetence. I mean, they couldn't keep what they had going. So that's kind of the plan I was looking at. But yeah, I mean, obviously Anakin's plan and stuff. The Jedi are good. Obi-Wan and Anakin are good Jedi. So they went and saw their plan, which sounded dumb in the beginning, right? As you mentioned, Anakin said, yeah, I'm gonna hope that they are too distracted, trying to fix the ship, that they're not gonna see us, and I'm gonna hope. And Obi-Wan's like, this is a terrible plan, but executing it, we're good people.
I'll try spitting. That's a good trick.
No.
But that's just Anakin in a nutshell. It's very much like, do you have a plan? I kind of have a plan. I'm just trying to win it at this point, man, because they can't stop it when I just improvise. It's just, why stop now?
All right. Anything else, fellas?
No, I think that was a nice way to conclude the Malevolence trilogy with the good guys winning at the end. So, all right, well, that's a wrap. Thank you everyone for joining Three Simple Men, making their way through the galaxy. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, and come back next week for some more Star Wars, Clone Wars content. And by the way, it's going to be Season 1, Episode 5, Rookies. May the Force be with you, always.